All right, so we're going to take a quick look at a discriminating monopoly versus a non-discriminating monopoly. So, non-discriminating monopoly has a single price. Everybody pays the same price. So let's take a look at university tuition, for example. Let's say that we have a non-discriminating situation where every student pays $37,000. All right, we end up with 1,000 students at $37,000. Well, of course, this is a theoretical model, but we have students who are willing and able to pay up to $50,000, but only have to pay $37,000. So there's some consumer surplus available. And remember, the non-discriminating monopoly, we have this tucked in marginal revenue curve, which is going to be key for us in making the comparison. So when you have this tucked in marginal revenue curve here, that means it's a non-discriminating monopoly. That's why I have non-disc right here. That's where marginal revenue goes here. This is still our dark curve. Demand, average revenue, and price are still along here, okay? And that will bring in, I did the math, $37 million for the non-discriminating in terms of revenue, okay? So how can a monopoly bring in more revenue and become more profitable? They can become a discriminating monopoly. So some characteristics of the discriminating monopoly: more revenue, more profit. There's going to be no consumer surplus, so this consumer surplus disappears, so that's bad for consumers. And there are going to be advantages to the consumers. More consumers are going to be able to purchase the good, okay? So please bear with me while I erase this marginal revenue curve and some of these price lines that we have. And keep in mind, the university model is probably the best in terms of a discriminating price situation. It doesn't really happen very often. Okay, but we do want to know it for AP purposes. And, it's going to apply to you a little bit. Not everybody pays the same tuition. All right, well, we had 37,000 as the price and 1,000 students for the non-discriminating situation. Well, here, now the marginal revenue curve is over here for the discriminating, okay? So Mr. Dark is back, okay? We have a pretty simple looking graph. It's just the marginal cost curve and the Mr. Dark demand curve. We're not going to worry about average total cost. That's really not our purpose. We could, but I'm not going to worry about it. Well, here is our new quantity of max profit, because that's where MR equals MC. And we'll say that that's 1,200. Okay, it's greater than 1,000. The point is that there are going to be more students available because we're inviting some of this group, and we'll say that this here is about 30,000. So students who weren't willing and able to pay 37,000 can pay up to 30,000. Okay, but keep in mind, all of this up here is no longer consumer surplus. Everybody's paying what they're willing and able to pay. So this student here is paying 50,000, that person's paying 49,900, that person's paying 49,000, this person's paying 38,000. Everybody's paying what they're willing and able to pay as we go down the line until right here. Well, I did the math for you, and you're going to end up with $48,000 in revenue when we do this. We have the area of this rectangle plus the area of this triangle, or the area of the trapezoid, if you will. And that's going to give us 48,000 or 48 million in revenue, as opposed to the 37 million that we had with the non-discriminating. Okay, and again, consumer surplus disappears. We do get this advantage for the consumer, and then more people are going to be able to consume the product. But again, consumer surplus disappears. I did check this out. This does get characterized as allocatively efficient because price does equal the marginal cost, even though the consumer is not working out well here. The argument being there is no loss of surplus since the consumer surplus gets replaced by producer surplus. So the producer is getting a whole whopping boatload of extra money. Hint, that'll probably be on the quiz. The consumer surplus gets replaced by producer surplus. The producer is really benefiting from this discriminating situation, which is why universities use a discriminating model with regard to tuition. And again, I want to be on tape saying that if Blair ends up going to SMU, I will contribute $1 to her tuition. So she'll only have to pay $79,999 to go to SMU. Okay, good. All right, one more video and that's gonna be on the Lorenz curve and we'll be set.